Good morning, everyone. This is Chris on IMTM Worldwide Radio, and this is around the ATL side notes. Finally decided to get on here live. It's been a crazy week so far. My schedule has been kind of in and out, and pretty tired, but I'm going to go ahead and get this done. I will not have a call-in number tonight. This is just a side notes version, so I'm not doing a live radio show. However, the chat room is open, so if you're watching on YouTube or watching on Facebook, you can always message in with a question and or comment. Remember, this is a clean show, so don't have all the cussing and fussing. I appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube channel for IMTM Worldwide Radio. I definitely appreciate that. Takes a few seconds to do that. Click on the notifications so that way you know when live shows or other shows are uploaded. Make sure you do also do me a favor. Go and visit the Originative brand on Instagram. Jamal Price is the owner of that company. He's the one that designed the around the ATL logo, the current one that you see there in the corner right there. And also the original version of the Around the ATL logo, and also designed the Around the ATL t-shirt, the first one ever for the company, along with some other things that he's done for me in the past. So that's why I'm recommending him. If you need some kind of design work that's going to be professional and well thought out, make sure you visit him on the Originative brand page on Instagram. By the way, I am going to be, when we do our next live show, I'll announce it again officially, but I look to give away another shirt per his company. I'm also going to be giving away some Hawks tickets. I'm also going to be giving away some Skyhawk tickets as well. So check that out. But you have to be a subscriber to the YouTube channel, and you got to call into the show to be eligible. So again, make sure you subscribe to the, where is it? The IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube channel, and make sure you just call into the next show when it's announced. Make sure you do that. And of course, you can follow me on what is left of Twitter, Intellect ATL, and of course my co-host Jordan Jackson at Jordan23ATL. As long as Twitter is around, I guess it got to scramble and create something, I guess, right? So tonight on Side Notes, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. So if you saw the title, if you looked at the title page, I'm talking about leadership. I'm going to talk about discipline. I'm going to talk about winning. Of course, I'm going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks versus Boston Celtics game that I actually attended in person last night, even though it was a long trip. I was trying to do everything while I was at work to try to get enough done to be able to make a trip. That I had to take a shuttle to go. It's a 2-hour trip, cramped quarters. My knee was killing me, all the walking and train rides and everything. But I got to the game. I'm going to talk about the experience a little bit later in the show. But I want to talk about a couple of things because there's been so many different things posted in the last 24 hours. And I want to bring some of them up. And hopefully I might have some people. I'm going to try to take a break and maybe post this again. We'll see if anybody joins in. It's late. I didn't announce this. I just did this off the cuff really tonight. I wasn't planning to do this live. I was just going to record it, but I ended up doing it live. So let's talk about leadership first, okay? But let me talk about a movie. Most of everybody has seen the movie Back to the Future, right? And you remember the scene where Marty is fighting for his life. He's about to fade out of existence, right? And his father has already laid out Biff. Okay, so that part is done. He's finally bucked up to the bully, right? But he's in the ballroom and he's about to ask his future wife to I think either to dance or yeah, he was trying to get her to dance. No, he was trying to tell her something, and his wife is saying, "Tell me what?" Blah blah blah, and he's getting all choked up again. Some random dude comes up and starts dancing with his wife and his future wife, and all of a sudden the music gets all kind of and he starts walking away, put his hands in his pockets. I believe I remember Marty starts falling down because he's fading out of existence. Like his father is about to not be his father all of a sudden, right? Back to the Future, you know the movie. And then all of a sudden he turns around, gets big and bold, grabs, pushes dude away, and basically then kisses his future wife. And at that moment, that's the point where that's the moment. And then Marty jumps up with all this energy and stuff, and now he's back in existence because now his parents are actually going to be together. They fixed everything, right? Marty's future father took charge of the situation. I use that for a reason. So I used to work at Turner Field a couple years ago, the last year of Turner Field being in existence. Okay. And I was in the 755 club. Okay. I was a supervisor there. All right. Never been a supervisor at all in a restaurant. I've never worked in a restaurant prior to that. Never. Okay. Keep that in mind. My responsibility was to make sure that out of this huge restaurant, okay, my primary duty was all of the runners and bussers in the restaurant. Runners and bussers, the runners who are bringing the food out the kitchen to the actual tables, and then all the bussers to make sure that all the tables are cleared so that the hostesses can do their job in regards to seating people. And then, of course, for the servers to be able to do their job. So everything kind of worked around how fast can we get the food out? How fast can we get those tables cleared? But then also, by definition, I had other responsibilities too. Okay, over a period of time, they grew. But that was my primary. Then also making sure that all in this particular restaurant, we also had to take care of everything trash wise and everything. So if everything started overflowing, guess what? We got to make sure that that gets clear. Otherwise, it gets kind of messed up in there, right? My very first day, I always remember this. And again, I'm gonna try to take a break and make sure that I, posted this a couple of times. I want a few people to join in. Hopefully, I know this was last minute, but let's see. I know it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, but maybe that's what it is. The very first day, I have the group. I was introduced by the manager of the restaurant, and the group had kind of gathered right there near the front of the kitchen. And this is I think this was my first day on shift or whatnot, right? And there was somebody there. I can't remember his name. Odd fellow. That's all I remember. But after the manager had finished saying whatever he had to say, it was time to basically assign people or put people in place for the beginning of the shift, as far as because guests were going to start coming in soon, right? So somebody tried to take it upon themselves to basically kind of, since Chris is new, doesn't really know layout and all this kind of stuff, well, he's going to take charge and he's going to be really in charge, not me. And I was supposed to just let him do it because I'm new, it wouldn't be no big deal, he's been here longer than a whole bunch of people. He's been here for years, wouldn't be no big deal. This is his first season here with the Braves and the restaurant and everything. He doesn't know the ropes yet. So I'm gonna take it upon myself. And you know what I did? I was like, no, I got it. Leadership Everybody doesn't have it. Everybody doesn't want it. It is not easy because with leadership comes with all kind of consequences if it goes wrong. You get the praise if it goes right, but if it goes wrong, you got to be there to take it in the trenches to try to fix things if it is going wrong to the best of your ability. And there's all kind of things that you have to do. Some of them are not pleasant when you're the leader because people are looking to you for direction. They're looking to you for guidance and they want it and they need it if they want that job. The ones who don't care, not going to be there that long because they don't care. They don't care about being led. They don't care about direction. They don't care about being on time for work. They don't care about doing their jobs properly, do they? When they don't care. When you're the leader, the initial thing is you have to let people know that you're that person. And there's respectful ways to do that, and there's disrespectful ways to do that, obviously, right? Right? I bring that up because on the leadership side of things, when it comes to sports, when you get hired as the head coach or a manager of a team, you have to understand that. That's part of it. You can't be absolved from it. As much as people want to absolve people from that main responsibility that they are the leader and they have to do what's necessary sometimes to lead, what else do you have? You can't be an absent leader. One, you have a contract that you're getting paid. That's one good reason right there. But then also you have the people part of it. Players on a team want to be coached. They need coaching. They need the direction. They're looking for it. They're yearning for it. That's one of the reasons why they play. They want to be part of something, and they want to be part of something that's going in a certain direction, some kind of a direction. Once they sign that contract, they got to do their best on their end, but then also they're hoping that someone puts them in the best place to be led as well. That's part of it when it comes to leadership. Okay. Now, talked about leadership. I want to talk about discipline for a second. Okay. Because someone told me you can't teach discipline. And I'm like, what galaxy are you in, sir? You can't teach discipline? I don't understand that. So let's give you another analogy then. Okay. Now I'm just using my work history, my secular work history, okay, to an extent. So when you're talking about you can't teach discipline, and we're talking about on the basketball side of things. I'm not even going to talk about any other kind of sports, but we're going to talk basketball in a second. But let's just talk from my point of view. You can teach discipline, and it's very simple, really. As a manager, okay, as a leader in the workforce, the employee that gets hired, that signs the dotted line that they're going to start working, and they're going to get paid a certain amount if they do this and they do that, and they work a certain amount of hours, right? That means they're going to be on a schedule, right? They got to be at a certain place at a certain time to earn that certain wage to do the duties that they've been assigned that they agreed that they wanted to do, because nobody forces you to work. That never happens. Because nobody has to pay you, right? If you want to get paid the certain amount of money that you say you need and they're going to pay you that, you're going to work or not. There is no in between. So you're talking about instilling discipline. If I have somebody who's not showing the work on time and it's constant, you know what can happen? They're just not going to be on the schedule anymore. That's a simple fix right there. You're not helping anybody. You're not helping this team. You're putting people in a lurch when you don't show up on time. You're putting people in a lurch when you don't do your side of the task. Discipline. That's kind of easy right there. You have to do your job. Someone has to train a person to do that job as well, right? You can't just hire somebody and expect them to know how to do things. In retail, if I hire somebody to sell cell phones, they're not going to know the system. They're not. They've never used it before. Someone has to teach them, someone has to show them the ropes and get them proficient to a point where you can trust them in front of somebody on their own. They have to learn the devices. They got to learn how to activate the devices using the system of the company and all that, and how to go through all the features and services and plans and accessories and all that stuff to get to the end of the sale where the customer is signing the contract, blah, 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 blah. Now, if the person doesn't do it a certain way, you know what happens? They're not selling a whole lot. And that's really easy to see by the numbers. What's their production? Numbers, production, right? That's easy to see. So now it's a matter of, okay, me as the leader, do I let that continue or do I try to fix it? Do I try to figure out what's going on and determine, is it just a knowledge thing or is it the discipline of doing the things that they were taught? Because it's usually one or the other. Did they study enough? Are they going over things enough? And or are they actually doing the steps? Because there are steps. And when you're missing steps, you usually lose sales in retail, right? And if the person isn't being disciplined, well, guess what? Now it's my task to get them back on schedule, to be disciplined in what they're supposed to do. And if they're not going to do it, guess what I have to do? I got to make a business decision at a certain point to where they're not there no more. Not an easy decision to make. And prior to that, you got to discipline them. You got to do a write-up or a warning, then a write-up, and then send them home without pay. All these different things lead up to that person not being employed anymore. Discipline. You can be taught discipline. And so in sports, you can be taught discipline. How did the Detroit Pistons play all those years playing the most tremendous defense you could ever see without discipline? Coach Daly said, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do if you want to play basketball here, son. Right? That's what it was. When you come into this organization, this is the mindset. You're going to, if you're not going to do nothing else, you're going to play defense. So whatever your skill set is, we're going to find out what your best aspect is to be able to be in the right place at the right time all the time. And if you're not going to have as many minutes as you thought you were going to have because you're not going to do that right. You're a rebounder. I need you to rebound every night. You can't have these 3 rebound nights when you're this big and strong. I need you to have 7, 8 rebounds or 9, 10 rebounds or 10, 12 rebounds every night. You got long arms. How come you're not blocking any shots at all? I need you to be up there in the air blocking shots. There's techniques to blocking shots. There's techniques to rebounding. There's techniques to stealing the ball. And then there's the effort. That goes back into having discipline, right? You have to want to play defense. You have to want to be on the ball. You have to want to play team defense. You have to want to not make mistakes because it's going to hurt your team. If somebody's coming down to court and nobody got man, someone got to pick up man. That should be an easy one. If somebody is about to get screened, you got a decision to make. Go around the screen, go under the screen, stay with your man. You got to make that decision. You got to make it lickety split. But you have to have the practice to where it's verbatim, to where it's natural. Discipline. You can do that on defense. I've been doing it all my life. I know you can do it. You can do it. You know you got to stay with your man. Why are you leaving your man when it's not necessary? You know when it's necessary, you know when it's not necessary. Discipline can be taught. Now, let's talk about winning a little bit. You know, when it comes to winning, winning is not subjective. You're either winning the game or you're losing the game. Okay. I don't understand this. Again, I don't understand where I don't know where people are going with some of these things I've been seeing posted lately. Winning is the goal. And you're trying to win every game. There are no throwaway games. There are no moral victories. You're trying to win each and every game. You're putting your best foot forward to put in your best effort to win the game, because that's the goal. Now I kind of wish I tried to prep this a little. I didn't know I was going online. I'm gonna keep saying it, but I should have promoted the fact that I was going to go online. But really, at the point of where I was even going to do this video, I was just going to record it. I decided to go live stream. So it's my fault that I don't have anybody watching, but I don't really care. So when it comes to winning, all the players are trying to win. Coaches are trying to coach to win. GM is trying to get the best players to win. Owner is trying to win. However, some owners, some general managers, some coaches, some players are just bad. I've talked about this before, talking about in the NFL, all these teams that for decades have just had losing seasons again and again and again. Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions, Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings have not been in the playoffs 15 straight years. 15 straight years. Think about that. Some NFL teams have never been to a conference championship game, much less a Super Bowl. Okay. Think about that. Okay. That's many decades upon decades of not getting anywhere. It's not because the players are just not trying to win. Sometimes the players are bad. But again, coaching is supposed to be putting players in the best position to win, no matter what's on the roster. But some coaches are not that great. And then the GM, they're tasked with getting the best players that they can per the budget given to them by their owner. But then also, there's the draft. That doesn't cost any money. So are you drafting the right people? And then, of course, the owner, whoever that is, are they being stingy with the cash flow? Are they breaking the bank? But guess what? Breaking the bank don't always mean everything, because you can get good deals here and there, whatever. But you got to spend something to get some of the better players, right? So over a period of time, that always comes into it. But the 5 things I've always said that makes a team successful is that you do have an owner that wants to win and does what's necessary to win. You have a general manager that makes good decisions over a long period of time, not just one and done. You have a good to great coach, you have good to great players, and you remain healthy during a certain time period. The health part is what gets most teams knocked out, right? The other part is you don't really have a great coach half the time. Okay? Sometimes you can overcome the coaching if the players are just exceptional and the GM made really good decisions over a long period of time and the talent just overwhelms everything. It doesn't happen a lot, but it kind of does. But if you have a good to great coach, you usually are in there like Flip. Okay. When it comes to winning, it's by any means necessary. You can win games not having the best offense in the world if you can stop everybody. Ask the Baltimore Ravens that one season, one of the best defense anybody ever has seen ever, right? And there's some other teams that we've seen win games surely with their defense. The Chicago Bears team from back in the day, the 85 Bears or whatnot, right? Super Bowl shuffle, right? And other teams that we can remember. Defense alone. The Detroit Pistons, of course, the bad boys. They hit their shots, but they won primarily because they stopped everybody. You weren't going to score on us, right? There was one season that the Atlanta Falcons got to the Super Bowl with having a very poor defense overall. They didn't stop anybody, basically. They just outscored everybody. We had the best offense one of the best offenses, hands down, in NFL history. Defense didn't matter that much. You just had to be somewhat kind of halfway decently credible every now and the blue moon. Because Falcons were just going to score. They were just going to flat out just beat you. They're going to move the ball all the way down the field every single doggone time. Touchdown, touchdown, third down, touchdown, touchdown, come back. Until when it finally came time for them to have to stop anybody, they couldn't do it. They couldn't get the stops that they needed in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. And the Patriots finally woke up and said, hey, we're in the Super Bowl. We need to start playing a little bit. Teams do hit back, but you have to be able to adjust to the hit. Which brings me to the Atlanta Hawks finally. Because at a certain point, you have to be able to adjust. As the leader, you have to be able to adjust to what's happening on the field in real time. Dan Quinn famously is not good at doing that as a head coach. He never was. He never will be. Never should have been a head coach, really. He never adjusted at halftime. He never adjusted during the game. He didn't know how. Or he didn't want to. Can't be both. But anyway, right? Someone posted on Twitter talking about some positives of the game Wednesday night. I couldn't see any. I was there at that game. But he was talking about how, I should see if I can pull it up. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. I might be able to find it. Oh, you know what? I have to go to my mentions, I guess. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Oh, wow. I might not be able to find it. Oh, I know how to find it. Give me a second. I want to read this one because it really exemplified my whole point of what's going on in Atlanta right now. So let's see if I can find it. I got to try to remember what time he posted it. His name is Glenn Willis. It's a really cool person. Okay, here it is. Quote. This is from Glenn Willis on Twitter. He posted a couple days ago. Oh, actually, no. This was today is Friday. My bad. I forgot what time it was. I'm so tired. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't plan on doing this live, but it is what it is. So he said that hidden positive nugget in the Hawks defense tonight. Top priority, I assume, is to keep Tatum from getting to his spots. They've done that. Bad news is Celtics countered it consistently and have created a bunch of open threes. Did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? Countered. Winning is supposed to be the goal. And to win, you have to be able to match up with the opponent in regards to what they're doing to try to beat you and get around it. That's the point of coaching. That's the point of trying to win the game. And if you're not able to do that consistently, it can't just be one and done. It can't just be one game at a time. Every 15 games or so that happens. It can't be a fluke that it happens. Also, one of the things I've always said, missed shots is not defense. Hoping the team missing shots is not defense. You got to stop them from hitting those shots eventually. You got to get in their way. And that was so frustrating about what happened from Monday night on the road against a really good team, a team that beat us not too long ago, where Trey had to score 42 points for us to be in that game, to Monday night, and we beat them from coast to coast on the road. They played basically a perfect game, 4 quarters. Again, that first half was so wow. It was like, well, can they do it the rest of the game though? Because usually they don't. This time they did, and it wasn't even close. How could they go from that to what we saw Wednesday night? If winning is the goal, where this young man, again, his name is Glenn. I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read it again for you. Okay. Hidden positive nugget in the Hawks defense tonight. Top priority, I assume, is to keep Tatum from getting to his spots. They've done that, which technically they had up to a point. bad news is Celtics countered it consistently and have created a bunch of open threes. And we let the Boston Celtics shot 45% from three. I haven't even gotten to the game yet, numbers wise. I have it pulled up. I'm gonna get to it if I can stay up long enough. Again, I didn't plan on doing this live. I'm pretty tired right now. They shot 45% from three. The Bucks consistently always just drop bombs on us all the time until that Monday night game. Brook Lopez didn't look like a mix of Akeem Olajuwon and Ray Allen as he usually does. The Bucks wasn't hitting threes. They weren't dropping bombs from everywhere. Want to know why? Because we didn't miss not one damn rotation. And all the things I've been talking about for 2, 3, 4, 5 years now about the fact that the Hawks have never really been taught any kind of defensive strategy, discipline, anything. They don't block out. We overhelp. We can't get back on defense. We don't know how to rotate. We can't match up on screens. We don't know when to stay with a man, when to go over. And I'm like, all this is basic basketball type stuff, but it has not been ingrained in any of these players. The talent alone isn't enough. The players got to be told what to do when it comes to this, that, and the third in regards to the situation. You got to be able to talk that stuff through in real time. And again, how do they go from doing it on Monday exceptionally well to not doing it at all Wednesday? I was there. I paid money for that seat. Doggone it. Took a 2-hour shuttle drive, walked however many miles I did, took the train, all that kind of good stuff. And I had to sit there and take it with all them green people around me. It wouldn't have been so bad if all those Boston fans wasn't there. Wouldn't have been so bad, maybe, kind of, if it wasn't a nationally televised game. There's Doris right there. There's Doris. ESPN is here for real. There she is. I took a picture. There's a picture online on the Twitter page. Y'all want to make sure y'all follow the Twitter page. There's a Twitter page at the bottom right there. Jeezy was there. Whole bunch of fur coats and everything, too. Women of the night there. It was getting kind of crazy there for a little bit. And we played like that. Didn't offer no kind of resistance, really. How do you go from Monday to Wednesday like that? It was so startling. It was scary. And again, you're talking about, we know the propensity of not calling timeouts while runs are just destroying the team. Again, it's not even about that. It's how players have to feel momentum wise and things like that. Again, coaching is about instilling discipline, but also taking control of the situation, like I mentioned in the first example that I mentioned in regards to leadership. Leadership means you have to want to do things that might wrinkle somebody's feathers sometimes. You got to take somebody and shake them and be like, hey, you can't talk to the customer like that. Or, hey, you got to make sure you write up that contract the right way. Or, hey, you got to show them all the device functions or features and all this kind of stuff. Whatever the job is, it's a matter of you got to be able to teach somebody to do it. And then if they don't do it, something has to happen. They got to know that if they don't do it, they might not be on the schedule tomorrow. They can't get paid if they're not on the schedule. Worst case, they might get terminated. The ones who really want to have a job and work, they will be very sorrowful when they mess up. They know they've messed up. They know it if they care. But see, there's some people who don't care. I know that in the secular world. But even in sports, there's certain people who won't show up to work. Not on the Hawks. I'm talking about some other teams that you know who I'm talking about right now. They won't show up. They won't do it. They take days off, months off. A couple of them years off. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But players want to be coached. Players want to be directed. Players want to know how to do it better. But they got to be told it. You got to do it. I can never absolve myself as a manager in the workplace to not be able to take responsibility if I actually didn't tell them how to do something, and that's why they didn't do it. That's my fault no matter what. But if I did tell somebody how to do it and someone still didn't do it right, it's still my fault. Not directly, but somewhere in there I missed something, and I got to go and try to repair it and get that person better, especially if I think the person can do it. I know they got the talent, but there's something missing, and I got to figure out what that is quickly. I got to do it quickly, whether it be at Turner Field or Truist Park. It was SunTrust Park when I worked there. I worked at Turner Field the last year of Turner Field, and then I worked at SunTrust Park before it was SunTrust, before it was Truist. I opened up that new park. I was there at the Infinity Club. If you've ever been to the baseball stadium there in Atlanta, I was working in the Infinity Club. Really nice restaurant. Okay. And when I had someone not doing what they needed to do, you know what I would do lots of times? I would do what they're supposed to be doing, whether it be busting a table, I get me a bucket, I'm knocking out that table, I'm wiping it down, and I'm coming back to the thing. They're supposed to be running food. I got to go find them. They're in the break room somewhere. It ain't break time. What are y'all doing? You know what? That's okay. And then they see me running food to their tables. All of a sudden, oh, shoot, Chris, oh, shoot, right? I have to do it. I got to be able to get in there. I got to change the Coke box. I got to get in there and change the keg of beer. I got to serve drinks sometimes. I got to kick people out the restaurant because they're being unruly. Security, let's get this person. Right? You got to make sure that when Evander Holyfield comes in, his table is, where he's going is clear. He ain't got no foolery going around. That's real deal right there. That's Jamie Foxx over there. I don't know why Cam Newton is here, but there's Cam Newton. Who cares about Cam? Cam came to a game one time. I remember that still. I want to say who else I see in there. But anyway, of course, Hank Aaron's always up in there sometimes. You know, rest in peace when he was still here. And he would come through and everybody, hey, it's Hank Aaron. You see players and stuff. But hey, guess what? You're supposed to be doing your job. Go do your job, right? So that's my responsibility as a leader. I'm not going to absolve myself and be like, oh, well, I told them what to do. And so since they ain't doing it, I can just sit over here and just do like this all night. No, I can't do that. So why was it happening Wednesday? How come we didn't get no challenges? You know how big that scoreboard is? Have you ever been to State Farm Arena? You know how big that scoreboard is? And to have all of these Atlanta Hawks fans around me and Celtics fans around me watch some of those replays, and some of the Celtics fans all of a sudden recanting and be like, actually that was. They should have. Why didn't they challenge that? Everybody, should have. And then you hear people, dang, how come they ain't going to John? John, right? That Williams can't really stop John. They give him the ball. How come they ain't do? And then they see the one John slam. The Celtics fans like, man, John. I'm seeing this, but I'm like, how come ain't nothing happening on the court though? There was a point in the game, and let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I don't know if I can do this quick because again, I'm pretty tired. Let's see if I can remember how to do this real quick. Second quarter of this game. So going into halftime, John had 2 shots. He had hit both his shots. He had 2 shots going into halftime. Okay. Third quarter, John Collins had 6 shots. The whole game, 3 quarters, he had 6 shots. He had hit 3 of 6 at that point. Then go into the fourth quarter. They did give him the ball a couple more times. Actually, no, they didn't. He only got 1 more shot. He got 1 shot the whole fourth quarter. Well, that was because the game was over pretty much, of course. But that's my point. All these Celtics fans around me see it, but someone else don't see it. He's shooting 50% from the floor, and you got everybody else shooting less than 50%. There's only 2 people who shot 50% from the floor last night. That was John and Murray. Nobody else. And for some reason, we thought shooting threes was the way to go again. The other reason we won that game Monday night, we weren't shooting threes lickety-split. We stopped that nonsense for once. Move the ball. We were moving the ball. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. We're moving the ball. This is that, and that's why, again, on the other video that I had posted the other night, that's why I've been playing this clip right here. I'm gonna go ahead and play both of them since I'm a little tired. Help me out a little bit.
How many times are we gonna pass before we shoot? How many? 4. 4!
And then I played this.
Set it up! Set it up! Ray! Ray! Pass the ball! Ollie, going for Ray. Now, move! Come on.
Do you remember the movie Hoosiers? He pulled out that player for the principle of it all because he was trying to teach them something. The way they've been doing it hadn't been working. They weren't a winning ball club. Him hitting those shots wasn't winning them any games. And that's what he was hitting the shots. He wasn't always hitting the shots. Think about that. Being able to shoot a three and hit a three are two different things. It can't be the only shot, though, especially if we're not even making it easier to hit a three. We don't set screens for our shooters. We don't run no high posts, low posts, curls. Although Monday we kind of did that. That's what was so mind-boggling. It was like everything I've been screaming for years all of a sudden happened in one night on both sides of the ball. And that's why I did the video about can the Hawks play defense the entire season? Because if we did that, we would be unbeatable. Remember 2 years ago when I said the only team that could beat the Hawks are the Hawks? And it was true all the way up until that referee got in the way of Trey. I think we would have won the finals that year. Clearly. We had the Bucks. Bucks couldn't really stop us. They couldn't stop us. I think we would have beat Phoenix. That's just me. That's just me. So anyway, Gene Hackman's character as that coach said, how many times before you shoot that ball do you need to pass it? 4 times. If you don't do that, you're not playing. Period. You remember the scene where put the guy? Well, that was the end of I couldn't play the whole thing. Shout out to movie clips. The referee came and said, hey, I need a somebody got fouled out. And coach said, I need a player. And the guy who you just saw got benched was going to go back in. You ain't going back in. I got my team out there. Played 5-on-4. Played 5-on-4. Doggone right. The coach eventually has to make that choice in his teaching method to say there's a price to pay when you're not doing what I actually am teaching. So what have I always said? Either something is not being taught or they're not listening, but it can't be both. Can't be both. If instructions are coming down from high to say, stop shooting all those threes and they're still shooting them, then he's letting it happen. I couldn't let my staff in any management job I've ever had after I told them, hey, you can't do this, and they still keep doing it and nothing happens. No. You know what happens? It happens if something I'm trying to think of an example, whether it be in retail or some other management position I've had where something similar like that has happened. I'll just say, okay, I'll use the restaurant. So if I have somebody in the restaurant that is supposed to be running food, they're not on break or anything like that, but I keep finding them that they're not working. You know what I do? I just send them home. Clock out, or guess what? I won't even let you clock out. I'm gonna clock you out. So you want to stay here if you want to, not getting paid, you can do that. But if you're not going to do no work, you're not going to just get paid. Sorry, that's not how it works here. I can find somebody else. I can go online, go to the database, put it in there. I have a position open and hire somebody with the quickness. Don't play. There got to be consequences. And I've been saying this for years. If people aren't doing things that you actually are telling them to do, and you're letting them keep getting minutes, then what are you doing? You know what you're supposed to do? I need you to sit down because you're not doing right. Or at least shake them a little bit, proverbially, and say, stop shooting threes. Or you got to stop turning the ball over. You got to be better with your decision making. I need you to drive more. Why are we not driving to the basket? How come we have 2 foul shots the whole game, right? Whatever the referees, force the referees to do their doggone job. They'll even out in the end, but there's no reason to not just have us having a bunch of free throws. How many free throws Hunter had the other night? I think 10. Why? Boom, boom, boom. I'm in here. Boom. Getting in here. John should have 7 to 8 to 9 free throw attempts a night. But you know what we do with John? We ignore him. We look him off. I'm telling you, I'm watching this game and I'm like, this is consecutive times, row in a row, where John is there, John is in the vicinity, and John's not getting the ball. You're looking him off, and it's almost like it's purposeful. I don't understand it. And eventually, John showed it one time. John's right there. Murray didn't pass him the ball, or was it Holiday? I can't remember right now. But John's, again, I've used his demeanor was despondent. When you are a player that can get shots, if he gets the ball, just like any other player who gets the ball and actually can hit his shots, look at his career average, look at his career percentage, and you're not getting, especially when you have advantages, it gets disheartening at a certain point. All my basketball videos, what I used to do on Sunday nights when I was playing basketball, not playing right now, I would talk about that. If I miss my first 2 shots in a game, I'm not shooting my team out. You know where I'm going? I'm going in the post. I'm posting up. I'm asking for the ball. I'm directing traffic. If you cut, I'm getting you a pass. You're going to be either wide open for a jumper, shoot it, or if you cut to the basket, I'm going to give you a wide open layup because I'm going to block your man out too. I'm doing all of that. I don't have to score. I'm trying to win the game because that's the goal. Everybody's goal has to be the same in winning the game by any means necessary. That means you have to sacrifice something. Yeah, it's cool to be the person to hit some shots every now and again, but it's equally as cool as to get that real cool pass. It's equally as cool as to set that real nice screen where my guy ain't getting you stop right there. My guy's going around my back right there. He has a wide open 3 that I know he's going to hit. I'm put my hands up too. I was part of that. That's just as exciting for me when I play. I'm about to get this block. I'm about to get this board because I'm blocking out. I'm staying with my man. I don't care what's happening on the other side of the court over there. I'm staying with my man. I'm not looking at back of me. I'm not doing that. I'm definitely not doing it 15 feet away from my man. I'm tired of this team over helping. It's so infuriating. The team, Celtics shot 45% from 3 last night. Does somebody care? I'm just saying. This is basic basketball, folks. And that entails the leadership part of it, the discipline part of it, and the winning part of it. And if the players themselves at any given time can't see that, then the coach has to take charge of that situation. He can't just leave it up to the players. It's not that the players don't have all, everybody's not as much as a leader as some and all that. Some do it vocally, some do it, actions on the floor. We all have heard those proverbial cliches and everything before. But at a certain point, if the players aren't able to facilitate that part of it, the coach has to say, okay, this is how it needs to go now because what's been going on isn't working. It's not. Everybody knows you're going to do a pick and roll. That's not going to work. You can't do that against, especially Toronto, wingspan. You can't do those little bouncy passes and stuff, they're going to take it every time because they know that's what you're about to do. Pocket passes, whatever you want to call them. Can't do that. Definitely not trying to do this lob stuff. They already know that's coming. That's all y'all got. They know it because they've scouted. They've watched the tape. I swear to God, we don't watch any tape. Somebody ain't doing no film room sessions. Somebody isn't. They can't. Because how can we continue to overhelp game after game, except for Monday? How are we leaving people wide open? How come we don't know how to switch? How come we can't make rotations happen? Again, Monday, I have never seen a team rotate like that before. In 2 years at least. The whole game? It was amazing. It was shocking almost. And I was like, this is scary because if they could do this, Hawks are unbeatable because scoring is never an issue. The Hawks scored 113 points a game last year. They gave up 112. You can't win like that. That's why we lost 39 games last year. We simply would not play no defense. Wouldn't block out. Wouldn't get back on defense. Giving up layup lines all season because this is overhelping the whole 9 yards. Not switching, not calling out switches. Murray is going to help definitely not have us lose 39 games again because just by himself, he's always on the ball. He's going to get 2, 3, 4 steals a night. He's going to get 6, 7, 8 rebounds as a guard. He's always going to be there, but it's not enough. Individually, it's not enough. It has to be cumulatively. The way a restaurant runs, it can't just be the chef. You see what I'm saying? One individual server can't make a restaurant successful in one shift. The bartenders, the runners, the bussers, the barbacks make the restaurant go. Without the barbacks, again, you have all your alcohol not in place when you need it and need to replace it. No, you don't never have any ice. Just think about that part. How much ice a particular bar or a set of bars in a restaurant goes through on a nightly basis. Glasses, all kinds of stuff that the barback is responsible for. Okay. The servers, all the. If you ever been to the baseball stadium, Truist Park, think about just kind of be observant a little bit and just look at all the servers. Well, in different parts of the ballpark where you have restaurants attached to seats and stuff like that, because that's not everywhere. Delta Club, I think, of course, Infinity Club and stuff like that. But although there's a lot of seats there, they only have so many servers. Okay, think about that. And how busy they are from game to game. But they make a lot of money though. Some of them are making $200 a day easy. Easy. They work, okay, for those few hours that they're there. A lot of stuff can go wrong in a restaurant during a baseball game. There was that one time we ran out of chicken fingers, which was amazing to me. I forget what we substituted, but that wasn't the greatest day in the world there. Okay. You know how much popcorn a baseball restaurant stadium goes through? My goodness. How many times I had to go downstairs to try to rob popcorn from other people? It's crazy. But I did it because it was my doggone responsibility, and I needed that shift to go right. Every shift, no matter what goes from one shift to another, the sushi guy didn't show up, or where's all the ice cream at, or power goes out, or rain delay, and just all kind of stuff. If rain delay happens, think about all the people have to come inside, and now all of a sudden you got triple the people that are supposed to actually be in this space trying to order food. Now all of a sudden there are no tables anymore. You know how hectic that can get? It's crazy. Guess what? It still happens though. Because you have to want it to happen. Explain to the fans, hey, give us a little bit of time. We got you. We'll find you. Don't worry. We got you and everything. And walking back and forth. You know how many miles I would walk a day in that restaurant? In the stadium. Sometimes I have to go to other restaurants in the stadium to get stuff or steal it. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to win for the night. I'm a part of the game as anything else because I'm part of the experience for that fan. Because that might be the only time that fan has ever been to a baseball game. Some people forget about that. I remember at Turner Field, the last season Turner Field was in existence, somebody that came all the way from Arizona to come to a baseball game. and it rained. And that was it. But we made sure that their restaurant inside our area was cool. I think the Braves played old World Series game from whatever, 91 or something like that. And I think the college game that came on later or whatever. So they kind of enjoyed it, but they weren't able to watch the game because the game got rained out. Nothing we can do about that. But we could do what we can do. We're trying to win. We're trying to succeed. And at a certain point, that has to supersede everything else. And I don't know why that is not a natural thing for our team. Yet, still, our former coach had his time and it wasn't working. A change was made. I believe we're at that point now because otherwise we are literally wasting talent on this team. And that's what scares me the most. We had a year last year where you had a player lead the league in points and assists and it didn't matter. That's ridiculous to me. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but we can't waste multiple players. They're on the same team, Trey Murray and John R. And they're not being utilized right. Trey's the best passer. Can I say generationally? I don't know if it's too early to say that, but doggone it, the man is averaging 25 and 9 for his career so far. If he plays 15 years, he's in the top 5 in scoring and assists in NBA history. Right now, that's what he's pacing. We shouldn't waste that just because we have no plan on offense. We have nothing. We have nothing to go to. If that first pick and roll don't work or that ISO don't work, we don't got nothing to go to. That's scary. It has to be scary because we're wasting time. You can't just keep shooting when you ain't hitting, especially when you ain't stopping nobody. If you're stopping someone, you got a little bit of leeway. Remember when I talked about the Detroit Pistons or the Atlanta Falcons going to the Super Bowl? They had some leeway because they had the best offense in football. They could give up a little bit. No biggie. We're just going to come down the field, let's see if they can stop us again. And they probably can't. And they didn't. They got to the Super Bowl like that. But at a certain point, it has to go past just winning ball games. Somebody was like, well, we should be satisfied with the fact that we have a pretty decent start so far. We're third or fourth in the East or whatever we are right now and everything. Last year, we started 6-9. That is true. And then we had that 7-game winning streak. But unfortunately, the reason we were 6-9 was not fixed. And that 7-game winning streak ended up preventing anything being fixed because the problems were all still there. We just got a little hot. You had a lot of energy from Big O coming in there, dominating Giannis again, and Cat stopping them, and the energy fed off on the other players, and they picked up their defensive effort a tinge to where we won 7 in a row. We ended up with 39 losses and have to play 2 play-in games, and we got killed in Miami series. Things needed to be addressed this offseason to not have this happen again, to have quote-unquote fool's gold. You know what pyrite is? That's, have the sparkly gold, but it ain't gold. You think it's gold, but it ain't. We can't afford another year of that. Don't you? Anybody agree? Oh, you know what? I just noticed I have comments. I'm almost dead sleep here. Let's see. Oh, but no, never mind. How can I delete these? Block user. There we go. That kind of reminded me of our first radio days right there. We had this one caller calling in from somewhere. He called us some crazy stuff. I swear, had to cut him off quick. Winning, discipline, and, they go hand in hand, and leadership. That was the other topic. At a certain point, you have to have all those things cumulatively working for you. And, Trey is the face of this league, and he's definitely the Atlanta Hawks guy. Period. Point blank. He's young, but yes, can he exude more leadership qualities? Yeah, of course he could. Right on the court and pressers and things of that nature. Of course he could. Right. He shouldn't be absolved from anything either. And I've been saying this forever. Again, I've said this his rookie season. If Trey is turning the ball over or shooting too many half-court shots, Pierce needed to bench him. Come here. Can't do that. Come here. You're messing up the works. If Coach Pop, Coach Spo, Phil Jackson, Daly, Riley could bench their best players, why can't we do that here? There is no reason. It just isn't being done. Because sometimes that's the thing that can wake them up, hopefully, to say, oh, I am messing up. I acknowledge it. Yeah, I need to cool down or get myself back into a space to help the team win. So yeah, my shot ain't falling. I need to do something else to help my team win. Like I just said earlier, if I come into my first game, if I get picked, who got down? Oh, y'all got me? Okay, I guess I'll play then. Okay, cool, yay. I'm gonna try to get a shot up. Come down the court. I'm trying to get another shot up. If I'm bricking, I'm not gonna just keep shooting until I shoot out. We're playing a timed game. There's a scoreboard there. We're playing ones and twos. Can't afford to just shoot out when I'm trying to stay all night and win all the games. I'm not that selfish. I'm just not. Yeah, I could be more aggressive on scoring. Sometimes I am, but if I know I got enough shooters on my team, I'm going to do some of those other things. And when I do post up, I'm trying to get the ball. Now, if you don't get me the ball, eventually other people start mentioning, hey, Chris is down low. Don't forget Chris down low. Because once I get down low, ain't too many people can get me out of my spot. You get me the ball, you either getting a wide open shot, a layup, or do my turnaround fade, old school. Knock somebody here, I'm a little baby hook. Or I'm going to just lay it up because ain't nobody going to block me. Christ's sakes, I'm just saying, That's when I'm in shape enough to actually play halfway decent. But I'm going to pass the ball. I'm going to get you some good looks. I'm going to set some screens. I know when to screen. I'm going to screen I'm like RKO. I'm going to screen you out of nowhere. You ain't going to know it's coming, but I'm going to give the head nod. Again, it's communication. Like we can't do that. See my guy? I know he's hot. I'm going to get you another shot. Come on this way. Boom, screens, jumper. High post, give me the ball. If you cut, I'm getting you a layup. Why can't we do that? Clint can do that. Clint can do that. He can't do nothing else post-wise, but he could do a high post, give and go. And him and John are great passing the ball to each other. They're great at doing that. They've established that. Why can't we high post John? How come we can't low post John? John hits his shots. He always has an advantage most of the time. He's going to the basket more. But he has the set shot. He can hit mid-range. He can hit all those shots. He's off from three right now. He needs to stop shooting it. Someone needs to tell him to stop shooting it. Don't worry about that. You're not the small forward of this team. Let Hunter shoot out there. Why are you floating over to the three-point line? It's the most frustrating thing. I'll be wanting to throw rocks down there to stop it from happening. He shouldn't be going out there, but we don't have no offense. This is what apparently they've been told to do, just come down, and this is where this is what we did last year. To stand up on three-point line, let Trey do his thing, and if Trey gets in trouble, just stay out there because maybe he'll find you if he doesn't get trapped. We don't even move when Trey gets trapped. We self-trap Trey because the league knows we won't move. We're not going to move without the ball. It's the most frustrating thing ever. And again, last night, or Wednesday night now, it's Friday, I had to watch all this in person. It's just more startling than ever before because it's like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And of course, you got all the Celtics fans just gleaming and saying Celtics stuff. And fortunately, nobody was drunk or anything like that. Didn't hear no leprechauns and gold coins or anything like that. But they were very obnoxious. Let's just say that in my section. It was, and as the score continued to grow, it was 13 points, 11, 12, 13 points, and all of a sudden it's 22, and all of a sudden this is out of control, and it just was allowed to happen. And that was what was most disappointing in that, is that you got to take some people out then. on the basis of if it's not happening with this group, put some other group in. Just like a couple of months ago, or a month ago, there was that game. I can't remember when it was, but all of a sudden we figured out that everybody was available to play. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. How come this whole bunch wasn't in there to give some energy, just to give us a little spark? You mean to tell me they were just sitting on the bench and actually eligible to play? I was just, we don't have any rhyme or reason. And that's what's scaring me again. For the second straight year, we're just out there as a team, and it shouldn't be like that. Monday was an anomaly at this point. And that's also what was so disappointing about Wednesday, because Monday was a race off the face of the earth like it didn't even happen. We just beat a top tier team, potential championship team, on their home floor that had just beaten us the last time they played us, without Middleton and all them other guys as well. Beat us straight up with Trey scoring 42. But here it is. Trey didn't have to score 42. And we just beat them straight up. I think we took maybe 16 23s the whole game. Just moving without the ball, just doing it all. 4 passes before you shoot. It was there. It was exciting to see, but I was like, but can they duplicate it? Can they replicate it? Wednesday night was the possible answer to that. And again, yeah, we might be able to kind of sustain winning 1, losing 1, winning 2, losing 1. But why would we want that again? To kind of barely scrape the surface of this team's potential, rather than at the end of the day have to maybe go in a different direction. I don't like that, but Nate don't have no help on that bench coaching wise. That's pretty self-evident. That's what it was last year. Who does what on that bench? I don't know. We have no specialists, because otherwise it would be showing on the court by now. They had a whole off season to implement stuff. Tell me where everything is at. Who's in charge of defense? Who's in charge of the offense? Who's in charge of making changes? When they see stuff on the court happening, how come it's not being stopped and adjusted? They can see these things in real time. He's 15 feet away from the nearest man. He's not going to get there in time to throw a hand up for the wide open shot that's coming, because the ball is coming around the corner when it comes. Wide open 3. How come we can't see that we're not switching properly? There's times to stay with your man, and there's time to switch men. And we still can't do that for some reason. Again, individually being able to do it is not enough, because the rest of the players, I remember Clint Capella's first game as a Hawk. I still remember this day. Coming down the court, and Clint had came up on his man to prevent an open jumper, and nobody switched to Clint's man, and they had a layup. And I remember Clint's reaction. What are y'all doing? I remember it to this day. I wish I could pull the game. I remember it to this day. And it's been like that pretty much ever since. The difference in that first season, that half season that Nate had taken over and everything, is that Clint was playing exceptional on defense. And the team as a whole, they had a little bit more of an offensive direction with Pierce per what he was doing and what he had gotten them to do, and John being the primary guy. And Nate kept that through the rest of that season. But then after that season, in his first season with the Hawks, he just tossed all of that stuff away. It ain't working. We needed somebody to help him on offense, and we needed somebody else to help on defense. Gary Payton, somebody, Rasheed Wallace, somebody, I don't care, but somebody that they preach defense. Defense has to be done. You're going to practice defense. You're going to get this right. We're going to drill this. We're going to drill the discipline in you to know when you're supposed to switch, to block out all the time, not just some. Why don't you know where your man is? When that ball goes up, where your man is important. You got to find him and attach yourself and prevent him from being able to easily get the rebound. They still might get the rebound, but they're going to have to do all kind of crazy stuff to do it. But we won't do that. Why? We won't fight through screens on a consistent basis. We're giving up easy shots because we just lay off. It's like, no. Why is that though? It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough for a team to hit 45% from three and blow us out. That's too much, right? It didn't happen Monday night, but then it happened Wednesday night. And it shouldn't have. And they were missing two starters too. I forgot to mention that again. They're missing two starters. And they still shot 45% from three. Let me put it back on the full game. I'm going to go through this real quick and I'm going to get out of here. Grant Williams had 18 points. But he can hit that shot. And knowing he can hit that shot, you would think people would get to him. And they didn't. Tatum had 19. Brown had 22. Derek White had 16. Hauser had 15. And Cornette had 15. He was 7 for 7. He didn't miss a shot. Pritchard had 14. Didn't miss a shot. Game charts real quick for that night. So the biggest lead the Hawks had was 2. Biggest lead, of course, for the Celtics was 31. Longest run, 11. No timeouts happened in that case, and that was the ball game pretty much right there. Let's see. Rebounds was even. Assists, they had 8 more assists than the Hawks did. Steals was even. Blocks, they only had 3 more blocks than we did. The Celtics turned it over 14 times to our 9. But guess what? The Celtics from the floor shot 54%. They almost shot 55% in the ball game, y'all. We offered no resistance. We shot 41%, mostly because we continued to shoot those threes that we weren't hitting. We shot 21% from 3 to their 45%. That's how you lose ball games. They were 90. They hit 90% of their free throws. Points in the paint. Boston had 50 points in the paint. Second chance points was even. Fast break points, that was even. So we got back on defense adequately enough to where that wasn't stupid. Still had 15 points. Fast break, knocked that down a little bit. Second chance points, they had 15. We had 13. Those points in the paint, though, all those layups, those count. And when you're hitting threes as well, we just somehow or another, it has to stop. And I don't know if it will or can. Because, again, you got to have the leadership to do it. You got to have the discipline to do it, right, to be able to win, if winning is the goal. And winning a championship should be the goal, not just winning games. We've won games. That's not no big deal. We need to be in the conference finals. We need to be in the finals. That should be the goal. These guys are right on the cusp of going into their primes. We don't need to wait 5 more years to see this team in the finals. That's ridiculous at this point. That's not we saw that it's not excuse me. We saw that it's possible. It's more than possible to be the age that these guys are right now and be in the finals. So what do we have to wait for? Why do we have to be the fan base to wait for that now? We were almost there 2 years ago. And that's why it upsets me just to go from those Eastern Conference finals. Oh, that was a fluke. No, it wasn't. We straight up beating people. To go to last year losing 39 games and getting ousted by Miami, and then going into this year and still not have a semblance of a plan on offense and on defense. That scares me. Because it screams at we're going to waste another year of Trey being on this team, John being on this team. John is getting less shots than he did last year. I didn't think that was possible. John is getting under 10 shots a game now. John got 11 shots a game last year. That was just an average. There was games that he didn't get 10 shots up there either. There's a game this year, a week and a half ago, he only had 6 shots the whole game. You can't win ball games when one of your best players is only getting 6 touches and you got other people shooting 20, 25, well, not 20 times, but 25 times, 30 times and not hitting those shots. That doesn't make any sense. He's the best shooter on our team for the last 5 years. No one else shoots 55 plus shooting and not just hitting dunks. You see what I'm saying? John does more than just get dunks. He's proven that. You see what I'm saying? And he can't get the ball on a regular basis. That don't make sense. You're removing yourself from being able to win consistently when you do stuff like that. It's just like Marcus Mariota not getting the ball to Pitts after he done said, "Oh, I need to be getting Pitts the ball more," and then Pitts subsequently only got 2 catches against the Carolina Panthers the other day. And of course, we lost that game. Pitts was wide open the whole game, a whole bunch of times. Can't get the ball to him. Can't get the ball to him. He's wide open. The ball's going left, right, all around. Pitts can't get the ball. The best receiver on your team can't get the ball. Had 1,000 yards last year, no offensive line, getting double teamed most of the time. Had 1,000 yards receiving somehow. Somebody's getting him the ball. But this year, he might not get 700 yards the whole season. Where he is right now. You basically taken one of your best players off the team doing that. And that's why there's some people clamoring for there to be a change to fix that. Because if the guy who's there can't do it, someone else has to. And that's the principle. Winning has to be necessary at a certain point at all costs. When are we going to get to that point again? Because the worst thing for our fan base is to not win again this whole season and just kind of struggle and kind of get by. Who wants to see that? And I guess that's my biggest point. Who really wants to see it like that? Your team ain't going to win all the time, but they need to win regularly if they're going to be a playoff contender. Boston just won 8 in a row, didn't they? When are we going to get to where we can do that all the time? 7-game win streaks, 8-game win streaks, 5-game win streaks. We can't even do that now. We're supposed to be protecting home court. This was a national televised game, by the way. Remember that Wednesday night. That was another worst part of this whole debacle, getting beat by 30 at home on national TV right after you beat the Milwaukee Bucks at home. Giannis getting basically shut down for all intents and purposes. Couldn't do nothing. We're going to find out what's going to happen. But that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about in detail winning, discipline, and how it all comes together when we're talking about trying to win games. You know what I'm saying? So again, and I'm forgetting my other, and leadership. Leadership is the biggest part of that. You have to want to lead. Everybody has to play a part in leading. And again, the coach is the primary person. He's the coach. No player can take himself out of a ball game, and no player can just walk on the court. That's directed. You see what I'm saying? There's a starting lineup. Just anybody can't go out there and start the game at the tip-off. Think about that. You see what I'm saying? There are no player coaches. So the coach is the director of everything that happens. They have to be responsible for those things. They can't be absolved from that. If the players themselves aren't able to get things going or get things right, they have to be controlled in a way to say, this is wrong. Let's start doing it like this, because what you're doing right now is not being successful. I know, because we're down by 30 or we're down by 5. Don't wait till we're down by 30. We're down by 5. Let's adjust. We're down by 10. We're down by 12. We're down by 15. We need to adjust. Those adjustments need to happen. If the person that is in charge can't do that, then the general manager is tasked now to figure out what needs to happen. Trey has help this year. We have a quality team. The bench is different. The bench is better than it was last year. It just is. The starting lineup is better than it was last year. It just is. But they still need to be put in the best position to succeed. And that's what's scary, is that we're going to waste this team. I don't want to see that. I really don't want to see that. That's my whole thing on that. So I'm going to get out of here because now it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I need to fall asleep eventually. So do me a favor. Subscribe to the YouTube page, IMTM Worldwide Radio. Again, the story, I wasn't really dealing with YouTube like that back in the day. I was doing everything on just radio, IMTM Worldwide Radio for around the ATL when I started the show. Then eventually I started doing Facebook Lives, but I wasn't doing any streaming. And even though I did have the YouTube page, I will only upload shows sometimes, like the John Collins interview. Shout out to John Collins for being on the show. But now I got a lot of stuff going on the YouTube channel. I just don't have a lot of people subscribed to it because, again, I'm behind. So if you can, share the show. If you enjoyed this Side Notes episode, this is not a full show, obviously, but it's just something on the side that I do to kind of segue into doing full shows again when we are able to get together, myself and my co-host, Jordan Jackson. But if you enjoy, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification button. You can also listen to past radio episodes of Around the ATL on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spreaker, Alexa, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, everything that you can listen to a podcast on, you can pull it up. You can follow us on Twitter, as long as it's still in existence, Intellect ATL, as you see there, and my co-host Jordan Jackson, Jordan23 ATL. Make sure you visit the Originative brand on Instagram. Let them know that Around the ATL sent you if you want to get some Hawk-centric or Falcons or Brave-centric shirts or apparel. Make sure you go there for designs. I have a really cool Atlanta Braves championship shirt that he created. I have a lot of different shirts that I've bought over the years. Of course, he designed the Around the ATL shirt, the first one ever that you saw me. If you saw me at the game Wednesday, I was wearing it, obviously. So make sure you go to the Originative brand and let them know that I sent you over there. But I'm going to go and get out of here. I'm going to talk to y'all another time. Thanks for listening to Around the ATL. But like I said, it's all about winning. It's all about discipline. It's all about leadership. All of those things are always going to be intertwined. I just want to see our team win. I want to see our team win a championship. We're past this being successful and everything like that. We saw the Bulldogs win a national championship. We saw the Atlanta Braves last year win a World Series. It's time for the Hawks to have their time. It's time for the Falcons to have their time and get back to the Super Bowl and win. That's the goal. We want to see these teams be successful. That's why it hurts to see them lose. We want to see them win. We're vested in this, the people who care and want to see the team win. And that's why we're so passionate about it. There's no hatred or anything like that. We just want the team to do its best. And we want the people in charge to help the team do that. And if it's not happening, there has to be a change. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here and talk to y'all another time. And y'all have a good night or morning. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Thank you.